Dolphins Today is presented by Aura, a all-in-one digital safety tool. You can start your 14-day free trial today at aura.com/chatsports. With that, we get into today's show. Welcome into Dolphins Today. I am your host, Will Scott. And on today's show, we're going to be getting into a Dolphins mailbag. We're going to hear some questions from our loyal subscribers here on Dolphins Today. But first, go down and like this video. We're in a contest here at Chat Sports this month. Which channel can get the most likes? So go down and like this video right now. With that, we get into our first question on today's show, and it comes from Strock Blackard, who says, what's the biggest worry on both sides of the ball? Obviously, a little bit more worries, on offense maybe than defense right now, just with the offensive line. So I'm going to say the biggest worry I have with the team right now on offense is the center position, because you're going to put a guy at center in Connor Williams that does not have any experience at that position, someone who I just don't feel confident in right now to get the job done. I wasn't confident in Michael Dieter. I'm less confident in Connor Williams. On defense, I'm very confident in this defense. I feel very, very good about where the defense is at. However, if I had to name one concern with the defense, it would probably be nose tackle, just because they don't have a whole lot of depth there. Raekwon Davis struggled last year. I think he's in for a big year 3, but he did struggle last year. And then behind him is John Jenkins, who's pretty old. You don't have a lot of depth at that position. If Raekwon doesn't do well or goes down, that's not going to be good. What is your biggest concern right now with the Dolphins? Is it the offensive line? Is it somewhere on the defense? Go down in the comments section and let me know. Chris Kyle, what's going on, Chris? He says, Will, what are 5 things not to blow out of proportion during OTAs and minicamp? That's a great question. So I threw up this graphic talking about 5 things to not blow out of proportion. Number 1 is the quarterbacks, good or bad. I mean, look, we're talking about practice, right? What did AI say way back when? There was this article I read the other day, and it's a reason that this is number 1 on my list, talking about how Skylar Thompson showed the most arm strength at practice. That was one day. It was 11 throws. Don't overreact that Skylar Thompson in 1 hour of practice had more arm strength than Tua Tagovailoa. So that's the number 1 thing that I would not blow out of proportion. Number 2 is undrafted free agents. And a lot of storylines emerging from OTAs and minicamp is how good some of the UDFAs have looked. Just because some UDFAs are looking good does not mean they're going to make the team. I would say max 3 UDFAs make the initial 53-man roster. I'm going to say the 2 that probably do make it are Kellen Diesch and Verone McKinley. I think Kader Kohu has an outside chance of being the 3rd guy, but they're not going to carry 6 or 7 UDFAs on this roster. The roster's just too deep. Number 3, guys resting. I wouldn't overreact to that. I mean, we haven't seen Teron Armstead. We haven't seen Byron Jones. We haven't seen Melvin Ingram. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be ready to roll come training camp, come preseason, come week 1. They're just resting right now. They don't want to risk, not being 100%. Getting injured in OTAs or minicamp would be pretty stupid if you're not 100%. So they're just resting. It's really not that big of a deal. And that brings me to Melvin Ingram. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't practiced yet, and a lot of people are like, well, he's 33 years old. Is there concerns in terms of health? I'm not concerned at all. He looked fully healthy down the stretch last season in Kansas City, was a monster on that Chiefs defense. He's going to be big this season for the Dolphins. He says he feels great. He feels 100%. I would expect to see him at training camp as a full participant. And number 5, I would say Mike Gesicki, because he hasn't signed a contract extension yet. He's been asked about it by the media. Mike McDaniel has been asked about it by the media. Neither of them have commented on that status. They have by mid-July to get him an extension. I hope they do by then. It's hard to tell right now, but don't panic is what I'm saying. Winner Skull 69 has 6 questions for me. He says, I have 6 questions, if that's okay with you, Will. Why haven't we signed JC Tretter? Great questions, Winner Skull 69. And I put this graphic together to try to figure out why the heck the Dolphins, or anybody, hasn't signed JC. We've talked about throughout the offseason that, yeah, JC hasn't signed, but neither has Jadeveon Clowney. or neither has some other really big-name free agents. However, it's getting weird at this point that JC Tretter hadn't signed with the team. So maybe the number one reason the Dolphins haven't signed him is because they like Connor Williams at center. They're confident with Connor Williams at center. I'm not. Maybe the coaching staff is, and if they are, sure. Number two is that he's the NFLPA president. There's a lot of rumors that he's getting blackballed by the league, by GMs, by owners, because he's the NFLPA president. They don't want him on the roster. That's very interesting and actually quite believable. Number three would be injury concerns. There's rumors, and again, rumors, just like NFLPA. There's no factual evidence that it's true, that he didn't even practice in Cleveland last year, that he just went out and played in games. He didn't practice because his knees are in really bad shape. That might be a reason why he hasn't been signed if there's injury concerns there. However, my response to that would be, look at how good he was when he played. So who cares if he doesn't practice? Number four would be money. Apparently, he wants a fully guaranteed contract. Teams might not be willing to give him that. Number five, maybe he just doesn't want to come to Miami. A couple of y'all have been in the comments saying that he doesn't like the warm weather. He's used to the north. He's playing in Cleveland and Green Bay throughout his entire career. Maybe that's true. A big reason that why people take jobs are location, right? Some more than others. I chose Syracuse University. I really didn't care about the weather in that decision. So some people don't care about weather, some do. But why would JC not want to come to Miami? That's a plus in coming to Miami is the weather down there. It's a little bit hot, but it's pretty nice. Subscribe for Dolphins news and rumors. If you haven't already, go down, hit that big red sub button. We're going to be breaking down any news, any rumors we hear on the channel. We're the number one Dolphins channel on YouTube, so go down and subscribe right now. Hi says this, or asked this, who has more yards, Jaylen Waddle, Penguin, or Tyreek Hill? That's a great question. And obviously, when you look at the stats, when you look at what these guys have done throughout their career, Jaylen Waddle's only had one season, so it's hard to compare what he's done to Tyreek. But this is what they did last year. So Tyreek had over 1,200 yards. Waddle was one of two rookie receivers with over 1,000 yards. I'm going to predict that they're both going to have over 12,000 yards this season. This is the best receiver duo in the entire league, in my opinion. They're also extremely explosive. The two fastest guys, not just fastest receivers, fastest players in the league on the same team. I think they both explode for over 1,200 yards. If I had to say who has more, I'd say Tyreek, but not by much because I think Tyreek might be used in some run packages that Mike McDaniel draws up. However, Jaylen Waddle also might be involved in some of those. Who's going to have more receiving yards this season? If it's going to be Tyreek, type TH, or if it's going to be Jaylen Waddle, type JW down in the comment section. It's the pinned comment on today's video, so when ad break comes, go down and let me know. Devron Thomas says, all I can say is 2 first-round picks early next year, or 2 early first-round picks next year. That's an interesting point there. And it brings me to this point that I'm going to make. If the Dolphins maybe aren't thrilled with Tua's performance this year, do they trade those 2 first-round picks to move up? I don't know. That's something to monitor. I do think Tua's going to get the job done, though. Josh Simmons asks, who is going to start at left guard? That's a great question. There's a couple different options. Here are those options. I think it's going to be one of these 4 guys. Michael Dieter is a wild card, but he hasn't played that position in over a year, so I don't know if he's really, and he wasn't good when he did play that position. So I think Solomon Kinley, the most likely. I think Liam Eichenberg or Austin Jackson also going to be in that conversation. And then Robert Jones may be another wild card to win this job. I think it's going to be one of those 4 guys. I would give the slight edge to Kinley. However, I could totally see them putting Eichenberg at left guard, trying him at that spot because he didn't play well at tackle last year, and then moving Austin Jackson back to tackle, which is his natural position. He'd be on the right side. You can start your 14-day free trial, Aura.com/chatsports, and here's why you should do it. Aura is going to provide financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, online and device security. They're not just protecting you, they're protecting your whole family. They have family plans that can protect up to 5 people. So you can get your 14-day free trial. I repeat, it's free. What is better than free stuff? 14-day free trial, Aura.com/chatsports. They're going to provide you with near-time real alerts on near real-time alerts on suspicious credit inquiries. So, let's say a suspicious charge comes in your credit card. They're going to alert you. They're going to be like, Will, man, I don't think you purchased something from Moscow today. What's up with this? They're going to protect you from Russian hackers, from whoever is trying to get into your credit cards. Very important in today's age to have online and banking protection. Aura is going to do that for you. Again, Aura.com/chatsports to begin your free trial. Poke Greninja 39 says, is there any way we can pull off a trade for a guard, maybe like Lane Johnson, for a second-round pick or a third-round pick? So Lane Johnson is a tackle. That's very interesting that you bring up trading for a guard. Lane Johnson's a tackle. So, you could trade for him and put him at right tackle. He's been one of the best right tackles in the league throughout his entire career. A 9-year vet, was the 11th ranked offensive tackle amongst all tackles last year on PFF. So I would love to trade for him. I don't think the Eagles would do it. Why would they? They're trying to protect their young quarterback too, and Jalen Hurts, who is probably not any good, but still they want to give him a shot. They want to protect him, and Lane Johnson is absolutely fantastic. You suggested, Poke Grinja 39, maybe trading a second or third round pick to get him. I think it would take a first round pick. I don't know if I would do that, and I certainly don't think the Philadelphia Eagles would trade him away. Would you trade for Lane Johnson? Type T for trade or type P for pass? I'm going to type P for pass. I love Lane Johnson. I think he's great, but he's aging. He's 32 years old. Do you really want to trade a first-round pick for a 32-year-old offensive tackle, and maybe you could just draft one with one of your 2 first-round picks next year? I think that's the better option. Zen Enoch says, do you believe Tyreek Hill's presence will increase the production of Jaylen Waddle and Mike Gesicki? I think you're absolutely correct to suggest that, Zen, because when you look at what Mike Gesicki has done his entire career, he's gotten better and better, and Jaylen Waddle had a fantastic rookie season last year. Tyreek Hill, being the top target in this Dolphins defense, is going to provide plenty of mismatches for Mike Gesicki and Jaylen Waddle. Mike Gesicki, you're going to be able to put him at tight end. He's going to be able to go down the field and make plays for you. Jaylen Waddle is going to be able to do the same thing. Maybe get him in on some end arounds as well. I'm just thinking about how creative Mike McDaniel's going to be with this offense. I could totally see Tua doing a fake end around to Tyreek Hill and then launching it deep for Jaylen Waddle for a 60-yard touchdown. You're going to be seeing a lot of that this year, especially against the New England Patriots, who are not going to be any good. Samuel Rowe says, wow, this is bold. Producer Trace, can we get you on here for a second? How bold is this on a scale of 1 to 10?
If I had to put an actual number on it, I'd say it's a solid 9.4 because that's ridiculous.
Samuel Rowe with a very bold take here. Trade for Kyler Murray, win a Super Bowl. Here's what Kyler Murray did last year. Nearly 3,800 yards, 24 passing touchdowns, 423 rushing yards. He was my fantasy quarterback, Trace. He was great early in the season, but later in the season, he just wasn't as good.
Hey, and something that's not on this stat sheet is that I personally actually got a pick 6 off of Kyler Murray in high school flag football. Yeah, that guy's a fraud. That's not on here for some reason, Will. I think it should
we need to make a graphic, a little List 3 logo about Trace's stats against Kyler Murray. That's too good. My response to that, Samuel, would be that Tua deserves this year. Is Kyler Murray a great quarterback? Yes. I think the Arizona Cardinals, though, likely to extend him. But Tua deserves this year. Tua has not had a good offensive line, and he has not had many weapons. You've given him weapons. You've given him, have you given him an offensive line if you're putting Connor Williams at center? That's beside the point. I just want to see what he does this year with the weapons he has with an improved offensive line. If he goes out there and he's not getting the job done, then maybe you go look to get a Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson, although I think it's more likely that they will draft a quarterback with one of their two first round picks next year. So I'd say if Tua doesn't perform, then look for QBs, but I do expect Tua to have a really good season and lead the Dolphins to the playoffs. But to answer your question, Sam, this is what it would look like. That is a lot that you are giving up for Kyler Murray. You're giving up your franchise quarterback potentially in Tua. You're giving Myles Gaskin is just a throw-in. You don't really need him, and the Cardinals do have a need at the running back position. But you'd be giving up 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick to make this happen. I will say that if you do trade your 2023 first-round pick, you would still have the Niners' first-round pick, which could be a top 15 pick potentially if the Niners do not do very well. So I would say no, I think that's too much, and I like Tua. I'm going to keep Tua. Want to give a shout out to my guy Daniel D. Appreciate the super thanks, Daniel. You can super thanks below this video. It's a way to show your support for the show. We're still growing here on Dolphins Today. We've gained about 4,000 subs in the last couple months. We're still trying to get up there in terms of subs. So subscribe, super thanks, do whatever you can to help the channel. Thanks for watching Dolphins Today. Appreciate producer Trace. Appreciate all of you watching. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. This has been Will Scott. Go Fins.